let anyone tell me the truth about motherhood. I knew that it would be beautiful and exhausting, full of joy, but I had no idea how overwhelming it would be. So why do we only hear about the magic and not the messy hard parts? Welcome to Good Girl Bullshit, a podcast for recovering people pleasers and modern women ready to shed societal expectations and reclaim their authentic selves. I'm your host, Megan Andrews, and today we're diving into motherhood without the mask, getting real about what it's actually like to be a mom, the expectations versus reality, and why sharing the truth is not fear-mongering. So I read something recently online that was talking about new age moms that are, moms right now connected with the internet, doesn't matter their age, but new age moms are sharing their thoughts and their experiences online. And what this is doing, some people are calling it fear-mongering. So people are being so honest about the truth of the situation and the season of their life. Other people are criticizing them and saying, you are trying to prevent people from having kids. You are creating fear in people that are potential parents. They don't want to become parents. So our birth rates are declining. And I think that that's bullshit, really. I think that it is very important to share your experience so that other people know what they're getting into. I completely still would have become a mom had I had all the information at my fingertips. But when my friends, so I'm I'd say a decade behind. I don't really feel behind, but most of my friends had kids roughly about a decade before me. You know what? They just told me they were tired. I knew my friends were tired. I didn't know about any of their other struggles. And my friends are pretty open and honest with me. So I don't know why they didn't tell me. I think it's because they didn't know that they had permission to tell me that, as a society, we're talking a lot more now about experiences and truth and how things affect us and our mental state and our emotional health and mental health. And I just don't think that my friends realized that they could open up, that I actually wanted to know. It's like I wanted to know, but I didn't know the questions to ask. Being somebody without children, I just, how are your kids? Okay, cool, moving along. Not getting into the specifics of how difficult it can be. And I wish that I had had some more open and honest conversations with my friends about them becoming parents. Like I said, it wouldn't have changed my decision to have kids, but I think I want to know what my friends are going through. So now that I'm sharing my struggles, I'm essentially trying to give permission to other people to talk more openly. It's not necessarily fear-mongering. It's being truthful about what you're going through and how hard it is. When I think about athletes, they train, right? They train for whatever sport event they're doing, and usually they get a day of rest. Well, when you're a parent, the marathon training never ends. You don't get rest. And so I didn't quite really fully understand how exhausting being a parent is without having a break. And you don't want to be the person that's always seeking a break either. But I was clueless. I had no clue. I wish I could go back and I could say to my friends, hey, let me take your children for the afternoon, or what can I do? Or literally anything to be more helpful. So I think that it's very important that we talk about our experiences, because I don't want people to go through things that I've gone through. And why would you want somebody to go through something if you've experienced something bad or negative? And why you kind of want to help people and save them the trouble. So that's why I just want to be honest about my experiences. I love my children so much, but having Irish twins and they're currently toddlers, it's very overwhelming, we'll say. If you're interested in hearing more about my Irish twin experience, let me know and I will do a podcast fully dedicated to that under the lens of being a people pleaser or breaking free of people pleasing while becoming a mom. So none of my friends talked about loneliness, a shift in identity, or about the exhaustion. The exhaustion, even putting together food every day, 3 or 4, 5, 6 times a day. Sometimes it's eaten, sometimes it's not. Just the mental stress of maintaining the home and making sure everybody is fed and everything is clean. I know it doesn't sound like a lot when I say it, but man, oh man, it is training for a marathon that never ends. You never have a day off. So let's move along here. Something I did not fully expect and anticipate was the sexism that comes after having children. My husband and I discussed our roles and what we wanted to do and how involved we want to be with raising our children before we got pregnant and or during the pregnancy. So we decided we would try to be very equal or as equal as possible. And so with that, I noticed a lot more praise for dads for doing what I would think is the bare minimum, and some animosity towards moms. I can't be the only mom to feel this way. Maybe I am, maybe not. That's why I'm reaching out to you to see if you've experienced this. What I noticed was when I would walk my son in our stroller, you get some looks, some nice looks, some just looks. And there was a day, I'll never forget it. It was a sunny day, so I must have been I was pregnant with baby 2, and I was walking just a bit quicker, faster than my husband and the stroller. So they were behind me on this walking path, and it was a beautiful sunny day. I'm walking ahead, and I see these 2 women, and they don't say hi or anything. Okay. But I can hear them saying, "Oh, look ahead, look at that man pushing that baby. Wow, what a good father." And I just thought, what? That's my kid, and I'm carrying another kid, and where are my accolades? How come I don't get applause or people saying, "Good job, Mom," for literally anything that I do? And I think that's complete crap, because it's sexist. It's absolute sexism when you become a mom and you're expected to do all of these different things. And if you complain about something, you're told, well, you should have thought of that. Like you should have thought about every possible scenario that could ever be possible in the next 5 years. And you need to plan your way through all of that. And if you don't, and if you stop and you ask for help or you raise your hand, you're told, well, that's your job and you shouldn't have had kids or something like that, to that effect. Now, have you heard somebody say that to a man? I have not. I have not heard a single person say that kind of thing to a man. Yet women say it about other women all the time. I even remember thinking that at some point in my 20s, thinking, well, this is what you signed up for. Essentially just gaslighting my friend. In my head, I didn't verbalize this, but I thought, well, that's what you signed up for. And what a disgusting thought. It's not what she signed up for. She signed up to be a mom. She didn't sign up to have sleep deprivation for months on end and to feel like an actual zombie and to feel like she's less than in society. Because that's how I felt. That's how I sometimes feel. I take my children out and I feel like people look at me like, you should already have it together, or your kids should be, this or that, or they should be acting a certain way or quiet or whatever it is. And any issue that the children has, it comes back onto the mom. It's just what I've observed. Being out in public, being in private settings, moms take the hit for things that are going developmentally wrong, which is really bad. Because when you do have 2 parents present, oh my gosh, I don't even get into being a parent, a single parent. That is a whole other ball game. And if you are a single parent listening to this, my heart goes out to you, and I just give you a round of applause, because this is some hard stuff. And you are doing an amazing job taking on 2 or more roles for your family. So good for you. Anyways, I can't help but feel that after becoming a mom, society just expects me to be ignored, I guess. Become just a mom that puts everything ahead of me and above me. And I've been doing that for the past 3 and however many years. My son's not quite 3.5. They're not 3.5 or 2.5 yet, but we're getting there. But at a certain point, you do lose yourself. You lose your identity. You lose your spark. And that's the point of this podcast, is to start talking about stuff and reclaim my own time and my own self-care. I mean, we all do need self-care, and sometimes a bubble bath and relaxing is self-care. For me, right now, this is self-care because parents, moms especially, really, really, really need it. Need to do something for yourself that makes you feel like you, because as a primary caregiver, you lose your identity, and sometimes you wander around like, who am I? Like even this shirt that I'm wearing, it is so old. All of my clothing is old. I've been putting my family ahead of myself. And I'm not saying that that's bad, because that is something that you should do as a parent, but you also do need to prioritize yourself. And I do see that a lot of people say to the man, well, he has to go play sports, or he has to go do this or that, or, give him his hobby. And I just think, okay, that's cool. But are you giving her time to do her hobby as well? I do believe that if one partner is working, it cannot be justified to not do anything at home, because if you are a stay-at-home mom, you never leave your workplace, you never actually get a break, you don't get to go and chat with your coworkers, and you don't get to leave. You don't get to leave your workplace. You go to sleep at your workplace and you wake up in your workplace, and you're on demand 24 hours. So to me, that's actually working more than somebody going and doing a 9 to 5. It's just my opinion. So I think that a lot of parents end up losing themselves through becoming really good parents. I cannot criticize a parent for losing themselves, because I feel it. I can see how easily it happens. And it's taking some time for yourself, in whatever shape or form it is, to go back to yourself. And like I said, I feel like a lot of men get more excuses or leniency towards doing other things. So I just want to put it out there that as a mom, you can or should be doing something for yourself, whatever it is. Because people pleasing does not stop when you have kids. And in fact, in many cases, it gets worse, because you want to please everybody and be a good mom, be a good person, be a good family member, be a good society member. Now, as a recovering people pleaser, it's interesting to note that people pleasing does not stop when you have kids. And in fact, in many cases, it gets worse, because you're trying to be a good mom, you're trying to be a good parent, and you're trying to please everybody and everything. And, the overstimulation, that's also not talked about. I am constantly overstimulated and just need to settle and relax my brain and my mind. Now, I do want to talk about this concept of a village. When people say you have a village, or it takes a village to raise a child, somebody said this to me, we'll say within the last year. Don't want to give away who this person is. This person is somebody that does not know how I take my coffee, yet I would be at their funeral if they died tomorrow, just to give you some context. This person said, remember, you have a village, when we were at an event together. And I just thought, what? I do not have a village. You are not part of my village. You've never come around. Nobody has offered to change a diaper. Nobody's checking on me. Nobody's bringing me food. I have no village. So the fact that this person said, remember, you have a village, I just thought, no, I don't. You're not part of it, and the village is dead. There is no village. I am alone in this with my husband. And so what I've noticed is that a lot of people want to say that they'll come and help, or they like to think that they're helpful, but they're not. And I guess this is true for myself. In the past, I thought I was helpful, and like with my friends and their babies, and I guess I was not. I had no idea. Now, this person who said this to me had kids or have grown kids. I just sort of want to say, like, you should know better. There is no village. And unless you're coming here to help me, please don't say that, because it was actually very upsetting to hear that I supposedly have a village when I do not. And I know I am not alone in that. I don't want other people to raise my kids. That's not what I'm saying. But to say to a vulnerable mom that you have a village when nobody has reached out, it was very hurtful. And what I noticed with this sort of, dare I say, older generation, a lot of them seem to think, well, I did it. What are you complaining about? Or I did it. Your father never helped, or whoever's father didn't help. You're lucky. Or I struggled, therefore you should struggle. And I see this and I experience it, and it's hurtful, and it's actually very insulting. Because if you have some information or a tip or trick or even some free time to go and help somebody in whatever way, shape, or form they need help, I think that you should do that, regardless of it being, around being a parent or young children. It's just sort of the world that I want to live in, where we connect more, we check in on each other more, and we actually create the village that we were told there is a village and there is none. Anyways, that's just my own personal belief. More on that later. A lot of people call it very socialist thinking, but I do think that we can be a lot more connected together and not be so isolated. As a recovering people pleaser, my experience being a mom has felt like no matter what I do, it's not good enough. If I go to work, I'm selfish. If I stay home, I'm lazy. If I do this, I'm criticized. If I do that, I'm criticized. So here I am, just letting you know some observations that I have experienced since becoming a mom over the past just under 3.5 years. I don't necessarily want to get into social media in this podcast episode because I'd like to talk about that subject on a larger scale. But what I will say, what I was not expecting having kids and social media, was how different your feed changes. Your news feed completely changes. I mean, I went from being somebody who took photos of flowers and bright, happy things, and I talked about communications and social media and marketing because that's been my job experience. And it went from that kind of a feed all the way over to like baby centric. And what I noticed is, well, that's a shift in identity, and people don't resonate with you anymore. You're a completely new, different person, and you're posting different photos and different content. And some people don't want to stick around for that. And that's fine, but that's something that I just did not anticipate when I first got pregnant. What I've truthfully learned about becoming a mom is that you really don't know the experience of becoming a mom until you become a mom. Mind-blowing, right? I think it's very important, like I've been saying, to talk about the truth and to talk about things that have gone right or wrong, just so that we can help the next generation and prepare them a little bit better. This is not fear-mongering. This is the reality of becoming a mom in many situations. It's my reality. It may not be yours, but what I've experienced is a lot of people don't want to talk about the truth of motherhood, or they will just say, well, you should have thought of that. You shouldn't have had kids, or something like that, which I don't think is fair. And I think that we as a society should be working towards just bettering society and making it better for families. Oh my gosh. Another thing, that hours that things open at, my goodness. Okay, so when you have a young family, you wake up early, like 5 or 6 or even 7 a.m. That's still pretty early, although I would love to sleep until 7. Anyways, most establishments open at 9 or 10. And by 9 or 10, I've already lived a lifetime or two with my children. And so there's many times where I think, can somebody please open something at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. and let us go into the pool or the coffee shop or wherever it is, the library. Like, let us go early so that we can go and do something early in the day and then get back for our naps. When everything opens at 10 or 11, it's like, I have to get back. I can't go out. And so I feel like that is also another way that we're kind of ignored, and nothing's really catered to young families. And so you just have to sort of figure out what to do in the morning, every day, versus, have a place to go to. Like the parks are always open, of course, but what I'm saying are places that have established hours. Grocery stores are actually one of the better places because many of them open at 7 a.m. So that's a good place to go early with your kids. But anyways, I have waited many hours trying to go places with the kids, and I sometimes just wish that things opened a lot earlier. So these were just some observations I've made since becoming a mom, and I wanted to share this truthfully with you. Motherhood is beautiful and it's hard, but you don't have to pretend to have it all together, and you should probably stop people pleasing as best as possible, because you could very much lose yourself if you don't stop soon. So what is one motherhood truth that you wish more people talked about? Please message me or comment, leave a review. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share this episode on social media. I would so appreciate if you would share it with another mom or somebody else who needs to hear it. Motherhood is messy, it's demanding, and it's nothing like the picture we were sold. But that doesn't mean that we're failing. Let's stop chasing impossible standards and let go of the need to prove ourselves, and start embracing the honest, unfiltered version of motherhood, because that is where the real beauty is. Thank you so much for joining me today on Good Girl Bullshit. If you enjoyed this conversation, please hit subscribe, leave a review, or share this podcast with a friend who might need it. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please let me know, and I'll see you in my next episode. Bye for now.
Every day I see miserable people doing things they hate just to fit in. I know it's easier to get along peacefully, but have you ever thought about